Hey guys, I wanted to create this video and share some of the symptoms that I believe has been causing what I am calling my midlife crisis. I don't even know if what I'm going through is a midlife crisis. It sure feels like it based on what other people have described. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I am just speaking candidly with you in hopes that if other people are feeling the same way or experiencing the same things, that you'll speak up and raise your hand and let me know, because I don't know if what I'm feeling is an isolated thing to me or if other people my age or above are feeling it. I have no idea, and I'd love to find out, especially knowing that maybe in the hopes that I'm not alone in this. In any case, some of the things that I've been feeling lately have been totally not me. What I mean is, I don't feel like it's who I am and who I've been in the past, especially with my weight gain and my lack of enthusiasm for working out and going to the gym. Coming from someone who pretty much grew up in the gym, started working out and lifting weights and exercising, always been part of sports since I was 14 years old. All the way until COVID hit in 2020, where all of a sudden I couldn't go to the gym anymore. I couldn't be as active as I was. And maybe, I don't know, subconsciously I used that as an excuse to not work out, but I don't know what happened. The fact that I didn't work out and I started eating all kinds of food that I know I shouldn't have been eating for a very long time. I was very health conscious. I'm talking 15 years vegetarian, up to a year a raw vegan, doing master cleanses every single year for over 10 years straight, and just really into healthy living, healthy lifestyle, always in the know of the newest supplements, lion's mane and K2 tablets and MCT oil and all kinds of stuff that I was willing to experiment with just to keep myself healthy, because that was super important to me. But for some reason, that went away. Almost seems like it went away overnight, but I know it's been a gradual shift in my behavior and my thinking and my beliefs of how I believe to be healthy or not healthy. But for some reason, with all my decisions over time, it resulted in this, in how I'm feeling now. 20 pounds overweight, not really having the energy that I used to have. This is probably my 10th cup of coffee today, and that happens pretty much every day, just to have the energy, feeling tired and lethargic after a meal. And I know a lot of that has to do with what I'm eating and the lack of exercise. Even though I live in a beautiful location in the world, in Guanajuato. If you've ever been to Guanajuato, Mexico, you know that this town is made up of hills, up and down, little streets. To get anywhere, you have to go up and down streets. And I feel like it's a constant cardio exercise to do anything in town, to go anywhere. But having a car here means that we drive. We drive pretty much everywhere. And so for a long time, I have been in a car rather than driving. So health-wise, I am absolutely not at my best shape. And that is causing a health crisis for me, where it's resulted in me taking cardiovascular or hypertension pills and cholesterol medication. And I never thought I would ever take pharmaceutical medication 5 years ago, 10 years ago, especially 10 years ago. Is that a midlife crisis, or is that just a shift in behavior that I got lazy or for whatever reason? Another thing that I've been feeling is just kind of like my mindset. I feel like I've stopped dreaming as much. At the same time, I feel that constant feeling of time's running out, that there's still so many dreams and so many things that I want to do, but time just keeps running out, that I am getting too old to do some of the things that I want to do, and I just want to do them. And it's just a weird feeling, because being a dreamer most of my life, actually all my life, I've been quite the dreamer, and I've manifested really amazing things and experiences in my life. But I feel like that has slowed down so much, and I don't know why, and it feels weird and it feels strange. I feel like I'm in a strange place in my life where I feel like I'm still not where I want to be. But the problem is, I don't know where that is. I'm having a hard time figuring out the question to where do I want to be? And because of that, I feel a little lost. Not to be dramatic about that, but I feel like I'm a little lost. And I don't know which way to go for the first time in my life. And it's really strange to say that, having worked as a coach for like over 15 years. That's my thing. I should know the answer to where I want to be. I should know the answer to why I feel lost. I feel like I can help someone else figure that out, but now that I have to turn the mirror onto myself and figure that question out, it is excruciating not knowing the answer. So I feel like a lot of factors in my life have contributed to me feeling this way. The fact that for about 13 years, I was a caregiver for my mom who had Alzheimer's, and at the same time having this dream of being this digital nomad traveler. For a long time, I was hopping back and forth from that lifestyle to caregiving, going into that lifestyle. I know I was blessed with having siblings that could pick up the slack while I was gone, but not long enough to be able to do it, and so that I'm gone most of the time. And plus, I wanted to be there to be able to take care of my parents. And so my mom passed away about 8 months ago. And I feel like I still haven't even been able to grieve for her, because immediately after she passed, I switched into caregiving mode again, but for my dad, who is in his early 90s and just lost the love of his life of over 65 years. I feel like I should be there. And so for the last 8 months, I have been traveling back and forth from LA to Guanajuato, Guanajuato to LA, back and forth every month, sometimes multiple times a month. And while I love traveling, it's so tiring and exhausting to have to do that, especially when I'm in caregiving mode. I've got to share a room with my dad. I've got to make sure he doesn't have nightmares and doesn't fall out of bed. And so my sleep is also disrupted. And then when I come back to Mexico, it takes me a little bit of time to reacclimate to my surroundings and get settled and get back into the groove of things. I feel like I never am able to get into a routine that helps me with my health or helps me with my career and helps me with my business. So I'm constantly in juggling mode, and maybe that's another reason why these symptoms are appearing. Lately, these symptoms have started to show up on my body. I've started to lose hair faster, and that's something that would be super devastating to me if I lost my hair. I know a lot of people who are experiencing midlife crises, if that's even the word. They go out and buy things like fancy cars, and they get hair transplants, and they do all these crazy things like spending money on all kinds of things to make them feel better. And while I'm kind of doing the same thing by trying all kinds of things externally to cure or fix my midlife crisis, I know logically and I know in my heart that the answer to fixing my midlife crisis is inside. But I'm having a hard time doing that. I understand that it's a spiritual thing. It's an inner core power thing. And I understand it in my head, but I'm really having a hard time sinking into it and reconnecting to my inner core power, inner self, that connection with my spiritual self. I know that is the path, but I also know that doing things to stay healthy and trying everything that I can to get my health back and get fit and clear my mind, things that I can do externally, like fixing my diet and fixing my exercise and my body, will lead to a clearer mind. And yes, I'm doing yoga, I'm meditating, I'm doing all those things that I know have worked for me in the past. But for some reason, it's taking a little bit longer for me to realign, reconnect, and snap right into it. For example, I started making these videos, a few weeks ago. And if you've watched any of the previous videos, I've been setting goals, weekly goals. What I haven't shared, and I'm sharing now, is the second sheet that I made, goal sheet. It's Thursday now, and I did the goal sheet on Sunday. I haven't filled out a single thing on that goal sheet. I don't know why. It's unlike me to not do the things that I say I'm going to do, especially when I set goals for myself. Something is keeping me stuck. Most likely my mind. It literally just pointed to my mind. But yeah, something is keeping me stuck and I can't figure it out. And that's what I feel is another symptom that's creating this crisis inside my mind, this midlife crisis, the inability to stick to something and follow through. One of the other major symptoms that I feel like is totally not me and completely new is that I tend to go from 0 to 60 like that. I tend to snap at people like that. And again, that is not my personality. Sometimes I feel like I can't control it. It could be hypertension. I am scheduled to see a doctor to really check out my blood work and check out what's going on the inside. Like I said, I've been taking heart medication and I hope it's working, but I can only think it to be high blood pressure, because me snapping and going from 0 to 60 is definitely not who I am and who I've been, nor is it who I want to be. But I'm thinking it's part of this whole midlife crisis. I don't think midlife crisis is just this one thing or this compartmentalized problem in one area of my life or our lives. It's definitely a mixture of a lot of things that are now feeding into each other and causing havoc in my life. And if you're feeling the same things too in different ways, it's probably causing havoc in your life too. Plus, let me know in the comments if you are experiencing any symptoms and what they are. Because again, am I going through this by myself? Is this an isolated incident? A big part of me thinks, no, it's not, that other people are experiencing this, and that's why I'm sharing. And some of these things are pretty intimate, and sometimes I feel like, why am I sharing this publicly? Why am I airing out my dirty laundry with the world, people who I don't even know? But I feel like by sharing it, one, I won't feel so alone, because it's so weird for me to even say that I feel alone, because I've never felt alone. I always feel like I have people around me. But in this case, when it comes to dealing with something like this, even though friends have told me that they felt similar things, but it's always been in a joking manner when we talk about my so-called midlife crisis. I even try to make my channel a little comedic, because I feel like it shouldn't have to be so traumatic or doom and gloom, this experience, that we can't throw a little humor into it. So I actually made it into like a parody of my midlife crisis. The things that I do, I try to infuse humor into it, because I don't want to feel so much pain. I don't want to feel so much doom and gloom. I'm constantly thinking about the end. That's another symptom, is while I always am thinking about running out of time when it comes to the dreams that I want to fulfill, there are times where I feel like I'm running out of time on this earth. And it's a scary feeling, and it leaves me with anxiety it leaves me with this like fearful feeling of a lot of things. I have the fear inside of me of doing different things and trying new things and having adventures, again, which is unlike my character. I feel like it's starting to overpower me, and I need to stop it. But the fear of time running out for me is absolutely real, and it invades my mind constantly, and it causes panic. It causes anxiety, like I mentioned. I feel like that's part of another thing of what's causing the 0 to 60 reactions, and it's a crappy feeling. So I don't know how to deal with it. And I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to figure out what I need to do, how I need to think, what new beliefs I need to take on, anything to stop feeling like I'm gonna die. And I don't want to die. And I know that that's not true. In my head, again, I know it's not true, but also in my head, there's that voice that tells me, time's running out for you. Well, I don't even know what the name is for that symptom, but that's a symptom that I am feeling now. You know, it's crazy because as an extrovert by default, I have been feeling more and more introverted in my life. And I think that's a normal progression of age, where if you were once an introvert, you eventually become more extroverted and vice versa. And I'm just the latter, an extrovert slowly and gradually becoming more introverted. But I feel like my introversion isn't so that I can spend time alone and really discover myself. I think my introversion more is a little bit fueled by depression. I never thought myself to be depressed. I've never really identified as someone who's depressed. And I know, by the way, I'm very, very aware that some people watching this are probably saying, go see a therapist. I probably will. I'm just sharing right now how I'm feeling and what I believe the symptoms are of a midlife crisis. I'm not about to go buy anything crazy or go do anything crazy. I don't need to go prove to myself that I'm still able to do certain things. I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that for me. It's in the little things in my life where I used to love doing certain things and being a certain way. And now in this body, in this state, I'm having a difficult time doing those things or being a certain way, even though I absolutely love it and I loved who I was being that way. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, Jody, who was saying something about what if what I'm experiencing right now is, in a more spiritual sense, a representation of me being in a cocoon, and what my situation is, or what the experience is like a cocoon of me in the process of metamorphosizing into my next level spiritually, whatever that looks like. And right now, it feels really uncomfortable to be in my skin. It feels really confusing to be where I am in life and with what I'm doing, even though I have nothing to complain about. I love my life. I love my situation in many ways. But again, like I said, it's a nuanced thing that's happening inside where I'm just not satisfied. I am constantly frustrated that I'm frustrated. I'm constantly frustrated and borderline angry that I don't know the answer or I can't find the answer. But Jody was saying that if I'm in the cocooning process and I'm developing into this next stage, what if I just felt into it? What if I just allowed myself to feel these symptoms, to feel this way and to experience the things that I'm experiencing and just observe it and really feel into it? I may try that, but my first reaction is I am fighting it and I don't want to feel the things that I'm feeling, and I've had enough of it and I want the change and I'm ready for that next level. My question is, whose decision is it? Is it my decision, or is it a higher self, higher power decision of when I emerge from that cocoon? If we're talking if we're talking, you know what I mean. I can't find the word in my head right now. Which is also another symptom. I'm never at a loss for words, but these days I'm forgetting words. I'm forgetting definitions of things. I'm forgetting names of people. And yes, it's probably part of the aging process, but I'm still in my 40s. That is not something that I would expect of myself. The constant fear that I'm going to get what my mom had is also in me, and I'm doing the things that I have to do to make sure I'm not getting that. I'm not in that path. I talked to some other friends about where my mind has constantly been, and I'm an absolute believer of manifesting, and that what we focus on is what comes true. What we think about, we bring about. And what I realize is my mind conditioning has been conditioned to focus on negative goals, meaning I don't want Alzheimer's. The goal of escaping and avoiding things, saying things like, I don't want to be fat anymore. I don't want to feel tired anymore. I don't want to constantly feel lost. And I don't want anxiety. I don't want the fear. I'm always talking about what I don't want. Instead, I realize that I need to learn to recondition myself to think in positive goals. What does it look like when I don't have the fear or I'm no longer feeling fat? What are the words that I can say that describes the thing or goal that I want or experience that I want in a positive way? And I feel like that's where I'm getting stuck, is because I'm having a difficult time speaking in positive goals, even though I've done that all my life. Is it another symptom, that block? I don't know. Is it what's keeping me stuck? Pretty much. I think so. So this is where I'm at in my journey. This is what I'm feeling and just some of the symptoms. If I probably would write them down as I feel them, I probably would have a much longer list. This is just something that's at the top of my head, wanting to share with you in hopes that someone watching this feels the same way, either thinking the same things or maybe in a different way, in a different context. Obviously, we're different people, but yeah, these are my symptoms. This is what I believe is causing my midlife crisis. And if you like these videos, and if you vibe with me sharing more of what I'm experiencing, please subscribe. Please let me know you're here and comment, and that's about it. I'll talk to you soon.